Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Ilse V Rensburg and I'm an author of young adult fantasy and horror. So this is just a quick little video to say hello and to introduce myself. If you would like to know anything specific about any of my books, just let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to giving you guys some really quality Here's just a quick little intro to So Sleight of Hand is set in 1920s New York. It's a paranormal romance, and the romance is with two women. So if you're looking for a really great LGBT friendly read, I would highly suggest this. And it's about magicians and spies and Harry Houdini and creepy guys that detect spies and magicians. So yeah, check it out, it's great. So that's Sleight of Hand for you. The next book that I have to introduce to you was my debut publication, which is a novella, which is called Bloodsucker. So if you want to get into reading my stories, I would suggest starting with Bloodsucker. It is unlike my other work, just because it's a bit more wordy, I would say. I'm a verbivore, I like big words. I am intrigued by etymology and all sorts of things like that, so it's got a lot of big words in it. My parents say they need a dictionary to read it, so yeah, check it out. It's like a quick little read, very thin, very short, but it is jam-packed with horror and historical horror at that. So this one's based in Victorian London. It follows the story of Jack the Ripper, but from a different paranormal sort of point of view. So check it out. It's a nice little short, quick read, and that was Bloodsucker, my first debut publication. So the next book that I'm going to chat to you about now is Time Torn, which is the first of my Last Days saga. It's going to be an 8-book series, so it is really cool. It's an epic fantasy, and it follows the story of two teenagers, Chris and Jesse, and it was supposed to be based in 2020. It was originally an apocalyptic sort of fantasy, urban fantasy. It became epic over time because I really wanted to get into mythology and Greek myths and all of that cool stuff. It's basically just a crazy mix of everything that I think is cool. Vampires, mermaids, like unicorns, like yeah. So check it out. It's a young adult fantasy, but if you are a prudish mom or dad, I would suggest not letting your kids read it. But I was reading quite intense books when I was young. Pierce Anthony, to get that going, he actually inspired me to write The Last Days because he was the first fantasy, well, I guess he's like science fiction, but his world of Xanth really put me into that fantastical world, and I wanted to create my own world which was like that as well. So that is where Time Torn comes in. It's the first book. It follows the story of Chris and pirates and gorgons and Oristela, she's a siren, and yeah, it's definitely a really great, fun series to read. The characters are South African, but the first two books are based in France and also in fantasy realms. So check that out. It's quite intense to explain. Basically, our world's kind of mishmashed together. There was a nuclear war, and in order to save the worlds, they had to merge. So our world merged with a mirror world where everything that we think is like crazy and out of this world, it's real. So go check it out. Okay, let's chat about Twisted Fate. So, Twisted Fate is the second book in the Last Days saga, and it follows the story of Jesse. He's on the cover. If you're thinking he looks a little bit girly, that's because Jesse is supposed to be a little bit girly, okay? So, he's supposed to be based on Davy Havok from AFI, which is one of my favorite bands, but like not the new AFI, like those. Okay, anyway, so Twisted Fate follows the story of Jesse. It's got nymphs and crazy French women that are like losing their mind, kind of like that lady that like eats people in pies. I can't remember the word now, but she's kind of like that kind of crazy kind of lady. Anyway, I'm not going to give too much away about her. There's also vampires, and it kind of digs a bit more deeper into Earth 2, I'm going to call it, because it's called Earth, spelled Erthe, like it would be in the old days. There's new continents, new stars. It's got a lot of world building in it. Well, it hints towards the world building I've been doing. And then that's Twisted Fate. It comes after Time Torn, and yeah, check it out. Follows the story of Jesse. You don't have to, you can pretty much read them like whichever book you want to read first, you can read first. They don't really follow like a time set, because both books are basically telling the story from different characters' points of view as first books. So they could be joined together, they could be read however you want to read them. I am working on the origin story, which hopefully should come out later this year or next year. Yeah, and it's just going to be called The Last Days Origins. It's a standalone prequel. You don't have to read it, but if you want to like learn more of what happened with the war and all of that, you should check it out. It won't have any epic fantasy in it. It is based like in 2020. Well, it was supposed to. I might change that. Let's see what happens. So yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for coming to see what I wanted to chat to you about, for following this little introduction. I've got a couple of new books in the works for next year or later in the year. Talisman is finally going to be released, which I'll chat to you more about in another video. I'll discuss all of my new releases in the next video. But if you do have any questions about specific books or for me in general, please leave them in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll let you know when the next video is out. Thanks guys, thanks for joining.